FHS season tickets.
We're starting either Kessler, Hogan, or Kaiser. We made that trade to get a draft pick, not to have Brock Osweiler start for this football team. And thankfully, Hugh Jackson did not start Brock Osweiler, and we've gotten to see what some of the younger guys have do. We're going to transition a little bit. We've been talking about a lot of younger quarterbacks in the league. Now we're going to talk about the older quarterbacks. How is it possible that the 2005 draft class looks about 8 years younger than the 2004 draft class this season?
It does not make any sense. I mean, because even if you think of, so 05 is it's Rodgers and Alex Smith. When you think of those guys, I mean, you're right. You think of them as like a decade younger than Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers and Roethlisberger from that 04 class. And honestly, I'm not sure how there's that big of a difference just between one class. I think part of it maybe is that, coming out of college, Rodgers and Smith were pretty nimble, nifty athletes, and they've kind of always been that way. And they've done a really good job of conditioning and not taking long hits when they didn't have to, and that sort of thing. And I'm sure that helped. But it is very weird that there's been this bad of a drop-off. I think that the most jarring of those 04 drop-offs has been Roethlisberger. We probably should have seen it coming when he played kind of mediocre last year and then said he might retire. So I think for him to have fallen off in hindsight is not very surprising, but he's been bad. I mean, he's just forcing throws that aren't there. He's missing Martavis Bryant down the field. He's just not nearly as efficient as he used to be. He's just quite frankly been bad, and I don't even know if he's been an average quarterback to this point this year. That's just kind of how bad he's been. I think more than anything, he's holding back that Steelers team. But, like you said, it's really jarring that the 1 year difference doesn't look like a 1 year difference between those two classes.
No, not at all. And I was not really high on the Giants coming in preseason, so Eli Manning's struggles have not really surprised me. I obviously didn't think they'd be 0-5, but I had them third or fourth in their own division. I really liked the NFC East, so I had the Giants at like 7-9 this season. So even that's looking like way too many wins for them. But then Big Ben, I was really high on the Steelers. I thought they were probably the second best team in the NFL, and they're not looking like that. But then going into the 2005 draft class, I've been saying for a long time that I believe Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time, and I would take him over Brady, Montana, Marino, anyone ever, and I don't think it's that close. So now after Rodgers gets his one drive against Dallas, everyone's coming to my side, and they're like, oh, hey, maybe Aaron Rodgers is really the GOAT, which I find kind of absurd because a couple months ago when I brought it up, I got a lot of flack for it. What do you think of that take that Rodgers is the greatest of all time?
Oh, I'm with you there. I mean, I'm only 20 years old, so it's kind of hard for me to say all time, but for sure in my lifetime, Rodgers is the best I've ever seen, and I don't mean to take away from Brady. Obviously, he's great. He's done a lot of pretty incredible things. Peyton Manning. But the things that Rodgers can do, others just can't. I mean, the way that he can roll out and maybe throw 50 yards down the field, the way that he can kind of place these Hail Marys in just uncanny spots, his mobility, moving in and out of the pocket, the way he can manipulate his mechanics to pretty much any throwing platform and make the ball drop pretty much anywhere he wants it on the field from anywhere on the field. Just his vision when sifting through zones and making sure that the defender is not in his passing lane. I mean, for him to score at the rate that he does, but also protect the ball at the rate he does, they're both at historic levels. I mean, I was just looking this up the other day. If you look at any quarterback who started at least 70 games, which is 5 seasons worth of games, nobody has a lower interception rate, nobody has a higher touchdown rate, and nobody has a higher adjusted net yards per attempt, which accounts for touchdowns, interceptions, and sacks. So, I mean, I'm with you. He's the best that's ever done it. I mean, Patriots fans are probably going to be mad, but I think if you put Rodgers on the Patriots team, they win as many or more championships.
That was a big argument that I had. I definitely thought that if Rodgers was on those Patriots teams, they would have just as many Super Bowls. Also, Rodgers' highest quarterback rating of all time, most yards per pass attempt from any player that played post 1960, I think. Because I think Otto Graham and like 2 other people hold the record for most yards per pass attempt, which is kind of bizarre. Like the top 3 are all played in like the 1950s, and then there's Rodgers at 4 or 5. And that stat, and then also his touchdown to interception ratio, like you mentioned, ridiculous, above 4-1, which is absurd. I could never imagine a Browns quarterback coming close to that. Because I watch crappy quarterback play through all my favorite teams, so it's interesting. Also coming from a perspective of somebody younger, because I just had Ryan Glasspiegel on the show, and he is a little older. I'm not sure his exact age, but he kind of grew up with Brett Favre, and we had an interesting talk about who was better between Favre and Rodgers. And him being a Packers fan, he obviously has a different take on it. But yeah, I think us both being young, you're a little bit older than me, but still, both being young and just being able to accept that we have seen Rodgers do things that no one else has been able to make, I think definitely is like the part of our argument that I think is why we're right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think if anything actually changes the argument for people, it's probably emotion. I mean, if you're a Patriots fan and have seen some of the things Brady does, I get why you gravitate to him. Same with Manning and the Colts. Same with even Favre and the Packers. But, I mean, it just kind of from an objective standpoint, it's pretty hard to say that Rodgers is the best that's ever done it.
Now, so who are your favorite teams? And, like, are you in college now? So do you have a favorite college team, too?
I mean, in terms of NFL, I actually don't really have a favorite team. I grew up with the Bucks. Ended up gravitating towards the Ravens for a little bit, kind of during middle school and high school, but I've kind of gravitated away from that. There's just a handful of players that I kind of gravitate to, whenever they're playing. I kind of just root for them. In terms of college, I'm a Florida Gators fan. For whatever reason, I stuck with them, when they were winning those national championships with Tebow and Meyer and stuff. That was the team that I grew up with when I grew up in Florida, and so I stuck with them, for better or for worse, mostly for worse for the past decade. But yeah, those are my allegiances.
Yeah, we just were talking to Fred Siegel, founder of Voltaic's Exposed, fellow Florida fan, so he's seen everything that you've seen. Good friends with him. Me, as a Vanderbilt fan, I have seen less than stellar quarterback play, and then also as a Browns fan from Cleveland, that's been my Saturdays and Sundays are always fun, watching our quarterbacks go to work.
Fun is an interesting word choice there.
Yeah, our high school is not the greatest at football either, so we're 1-6 right now, so I was getting very upset with like some of the play calling on the past Friday game, and people are like, why do you get so upset? And I'm just like, because I watch trash on Friday, then I watch Vandy on Saturday, which is trash, and then the Browns on Sunday, so it's great.
A 72-hour marathon of garbage football.
Oh yeah, and then I'm watching, because I post all my gambling bets, and I'm watching the Stanford versus Utah game on Saturday night at 1:30 in the morning, and on 4th down, Stanford gets a roughing the passer penalty, which extends Utah's drive, and Utah scores a touchdown to give them a cover, so I lose the bet. So it really is an all-day thing for me. Yeah, it was mad. I was very upset. I don't gamble actual money right now, but I just post them on Twitter, and I still get upset because I have way too much pride. I'm at 57% of the year, though, so it's all right. So we're going to transition into a different quarterback topic. I know we've mentioned a lot of things so far, but we are going to mention the 2 players that I think these players might be compared throughout their careers even more than Goff and Wentz going 1-2, and that's Winston and Mariota. I was on both for pre-draft. I love them both. I would have taken Winston 1, but I thought you couldn't go wrong. I think Mariota is now better. What have you seen from each of their careers and just how they've transitioned?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I liked Winston a little bit more coming out of college, and I think honestly through their first 2 years, it was still kind of a stalemate for me. I think obviously Mariota was more efficient, but I think kind of, the peak plays that Winston could provide you were a little bit more intriguing to me. I think so far he's been a little bit disappointing this year. He's not been hitting his deep passes the way that you would have expected or at least hoped. He's missed Sean Jackson far more times than he's hit him down the field. I don't think he's finding Mike Evans quite the way you might have expected. I think part of the issue is that Tampa Bay is also not using O.J. Howard as much as I would like, which is kind of frustrating. But, it just comes down to Winston not being able to hit the deep plays, and he's not very efficient within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. So Winston's game is it's really weird because, he can throw the 11 to 20 range really, really well, and I think he has good vision in that area. But when you can't complete, the straight vertical shots down the field to Jackson, and you kind of struggle to be efficient within 10 yards on the easy passes, you really limit the ceiling on what your offense can be. And until Winston cleans at least one of those things up, I think it's going to be hard for him to kind of be more than average at this point.
Yeah, Winston on the deep ball, he seems to overshoot receivers way too much. And I'm going to transition last thing. You were against Matthew Stafford. You called him Matthew Fraud? What was it?
I think it was Fraudford.
Fraudford? All right, that's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to mess it up. I have said that I think he's worth every penny to the Detroit Lions, and he is a really good quarterback and underrated, and just his consistency in throwing ridiculous passing yards has been incredible. And I've just been a Matthew Stafford defender. I really don't care about what his record is against winning teams. So I've been a Stafford defender. I do not like how Jim Bob Cooter has run the Detroit Lions offense, how it's so many short passing plays, and I feel like they don't use Matthew Stafford's pure arm talent enough. I know they don't really have the receivers to do it. When I saw Jim Bob Cooter mentioned for the Tennessee head football job, I was like, Butch Jones is bad, but I really don't know how much better Jim Bob Cooter is. And as a Vandy fan, it'd be nice if we could keep beating Tennessee. So I was kind of excited for that. What have you seen from the Lions offense this season and the past couple seasons? And do you agree that they should use Stafford to air it out more and not dink and dunk down the field? Or do you just think Stafford is a fraud, like you mentioned?
I do think they need to air it out because more of my grievances lie within the way that Cooter is using Stafford and the residual hype that Stafford is getting for not actually doing anything more impressive than he's done before. I think Stafford is a fine quarterback. I think, paying him, I think it was kind of a walking the line thing for me. I think I could understand paying him. I could understand not paying him. But given what the offense is asking him to do right now, all of those short passes, screens, swings, slams at such a high rate. Why are you paying, why are you giving him the biggest contract in the league to run an Alex Smith offense? It doesn't make sense. If you're going to pay him like that, you've got to construct the offense in a way that's going to better use downfield, use the intermediate areas, try to take some deeper shots. Marvin Jones, I think, is a fine, deep threat. I think he can get open enough, and I think he's a good test guy. I think I would like to see them open it up to him more there. We've seen Golden Tate do really well over the middle of the field, being almost like a tight end, just the way that he can kind of buddy guys out despite being kind of a smaller wide receiver. I think they have the talent to air it out more if they wanted to, but they're just not, and they're kind of giving Stafford all these easy yards and easy stats, and he's getting easy hype for it. He did last year, and it just didn't make any sense to me because, like I said, he's a fine quarterback, but he wasn't actually doing anything more impressive than he's done before. It was just that Cooter wasn't letting him throw interceptions, and so I thought it was just frustrating the way that offense is designed right now. And not even just in the passing game. I think their running game is really predictable. Part of the problem is their offensive line is also terrible. But I'm not the biggest fan of Cooter, and that kind of leads into my issues with Stafford right now.
You, speaking of MVP, you did not just make fun of the MVP of the league so far, Alex Smith's offense. I'm kidding about that statement.
I love Andy Reid. I don't know about Alex Smith.
Yeah, when I saw through Week 5 NFL MVPs, and people are making case for Hunt, Smith, and I forget who the last one was, but I was like, it's either Rodgers or Brady. Like, let's just not be dumb people. But the last thing we're going to talk about before we wrap it up, I've always liked Kirk Cousins. What does he get in free agency this year, and to what team?
It's going to be too much, and either to San Francisco. Like, I think if he moves to a different team, it's going to be San Francisco, just because obviously they need a quarterback. There's going to be a lot of coaching consistency there because they're signing Shanahan to like a 6-year deal. He's already been with Shanahan before, so I think if he leaves, that's the most likely spot. But I also think it's possible that Tate might work something out in Washington. I'm not actually sure which is more likely, that he leaves or if he stays, but I think it's possible that he could stay. And like I said, he's going to get more money than I think he's worth. I mean, if I thought King Stafford was a little bit questionable, I'm definitely not in Cousins. So it just the way that they're going to have to construct that team with Cousins holding them back financially is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Cousins is pretty much a lock to go to San Francisco, and I really like his game. But that will wrap it up for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more season ticket videos.